Okay. Hey, they don't do the countdown anymore. Hi, guys. I'm Luke. I'm in my house today. Sound of packages opening. No problem. My cat cup. This is going to be a Q&A, so we'll have people here asking questions about English, and I will be answering the questions. How to learn English, maybe questions about words or grammar or whatever. Just let me say at the beginning, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Subscribe. It's very important because when you subscribe, I feel happy. Oh, and it helps the channel. It helps my channel. So I hope you can subscribe. If you like my videos, then make sure to look in the link in the description. You can see some courses that I have there. If you click on the first link, you can see some full courses if you're interested in improving your spoken English. So, check out the link, subscribe, but for today, ask questions. If you're watching this later and you want to ask questions, I usually do these every Saturday, except the last 2 weeks I didn't, and that's my bad. Wallacey is here. Hello, friend. Hello, Wallacey. Hello, hello. So, if you don't know how this works, whether you have questions about American culture or how to study, differences between words, some simple grammar questions, questions about expressions, whatever they may be, ask, and I'll do my best to answer. That's what this is all about. Peace is here, and Terry Yap is here. Terry Yap? Is that how you say your name, Terry? Terry Yap, is that right? Yap means to talk a lot, to yap, yap, yap. Interesting. Cool name. My name is Luke Priddy. Some people think it sounds like pretty, but it's Priddy with a D, 2 Ds. That's different. It's different. Okay, so I guess we'll wait for a few people to come in. If my voice sounds a little weird, it's because I have allergies. Oh, Yap is your family name. Which country do you come from, Terry? Where does that name originate from? Yap doesn't sound Chinese. It sounds maybe like Vietnam or perhaps Thailand? Maybe? Is that right? Beta is here. Hello, Wallacey. Can you explain the difference between either and neither? Of course. Of course. Between either and neither. Da, 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 da. Malaysia, I was close, but you're Chinese. But Yap, I have not heard in China. I speak some Chinese, and it's not a name I've heard before. So I apologize if I blow my nose sometimes in this Q&A. I do have some pretty serious seasonal allergies going on. Seasonal allergies are no fun. That means every year in the autumn, I start sneezing and crying and my nose starts watering and it is awful. But anyway, that's maybe why my voice sounds a little weird. I haven't got my allergy medicine yet. Okay, so I'll start with the first question while people are still coming in. Yeah, I suppose it doesn't matter, does it, Terry? I suppose you're right. You're welcome. You're welcome. Giadi? Giadi, is that right? Can you tell me what is, was, were different? Is, was, were. Sure. I'm going to write down these questions. Is, was, and were. And I'm going to actually, before I start answering questions, I'm going to open up the Q&A so that I can see the comments coming in more easily. All right. How to tell someone you're wrong in a polite way, says Peace. That is a great question. It is a fantastic question. How to tell someone they are wrong. Ruhul says, sir, what is the difference of these two sentences? I have nothing to say, or I have had nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I have had nothing to say. All right, we'll try to talk about that one too. All right, let's get started. Let's start. How can I support you on Patreon? Just do it. You can. I just started the Patreon. It's new. Jasper, if you want to support me on Patreon, I think you can just use a card and it will, let's say you want to support me for $1 per month. Then it will just bill you $1 a month. So you would click on that reward and then basically it will take $1 a month out of whatever card you use. I think that's how it works. That is how it works. And I'm going to be in the future focusing more, if we get more supporters on Patreon, again, it's very new, then I'm going to be putting more stuff on Patreon just for Patreon people. So if we reach the goal, then we'll have a special live class just for Patreon, people supporting me on Patreon. If you want to check out that link, then you can do that. It's in my, if you look at the channel, the main channel, you can see Patreon. How's the weather today? Good question. The weather today is my favorite weather. My favorite weather is overcast and cool. So it's not hot. Hey Google, what's the temperature today?
In New York City today, expect a high of 79 and a low of 66.
So between 66 and 79 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty good. Not too hot. Cool, but not cold. And then there's no sunshine, so it's overcast, but it's also not raining. So this is absolutely perfect weather. I wish that it was like this all year. I've been to India. I know it's very sunny, very hot. I've been to India. I spent quite a long time in Rishikesh, India before, when I was maybe 21 years old. Okay, so explain the difference between either or either and neither. Now the first question is, what's the pronunciation? Should I say either or either? Should I say neither or neither? And the answer to the question is either one. That means it doesn't matter. If you want to say either, say either. If you want to say either, say either. People say both. There's that famous song that goes, you say tomato, I say tomato, and it doesn't matter which one you choose, okay? I say tomato. Both are correct. Either are correct. So either means that, either can mean a couple different things. If somebody offers you something, and there are, let's say, two choices. I hold up two things. So this one is let's say it's a banana and an apple. Let's just make it very simple. And I say, which one do you want? And you say, either one. Either one. It means you're saying, I don't care. I do want one, but I don't care which one. So I might hand you, I then now make the choice. I hand you the banana or I hand you the apple. So by saying either, in this case, as an answer to a question about a choice, you're saying, I don't care which of two things, okay? So, would you rather watch a movie today or hang out at a cafe? Either one. Either one is okay with me. Is like saying, whatever, I don't care. All right. But either can be used in another way as well. I might have a sneeze coming on. Don't sneeze. Stop myself from sneezing. Okay. So either can also be used to explain choices. Before we do you smoke up? Does that mean smoke cigarettes or smoke weed? Neither. Neither. So I'll talk about that in a moment. Neither. So if we want to explain choices, two choices, then we can say it like this. We could either stay home and relax or go out and do some shopping. So I'm explaining two choices. And anytime you're trying to explain two choices, you can, and the choices or the options are maybe equal, we can use either. So we could either buy a new car, which would be pretty expensive, or buy a second-hand car and then save a lot of money. What do you think we should do? So I'm explaining the two options before I ask you what we should do. Then you can answer either one. Means I don't care. Or you could say, let's buy a used car, second-hand car. Then we can save more money. So is that clear? Those are the two common ways that we'll use either or either. Okay. Yeah, we could either smoke weed or cigarettes. No, but that example doesn't quite work. If you say we could either smoke weed or cigarettes, first I need to have agreed that we're going to smoke something. If you say, do you want to smoke something? And I say yes, then you can say we could either smoke weed or cigarettes. But if you begin by saying we could either smoke weed or cigarettes, I might say, I don't want to smoke either of those things. I don't want to smoke either of those things. I don't smoke. I don't smoke. Okay, so then your choices don't work, right? Your choices don't work because I have a third option. I may have a fourth option. Neither. Do you want weed or a cigarette? Neither. I'll have a cigar. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. So you have to be careful with it because some people might have other options. It generally has to be a true choice between two things. So I don't accept your example, although it helps me. That's good. It's a good way to make it clear. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, if we don't want two things, then we would say neither. That's when we say neither. Yes, I have WeChat. My WeChat is altoray. You're welcome to add me on WeChat if you want to talk, if you want to chat. If you're interested in whatever, you can add me on WeChat. I usually use WeChat. I don't use Hello Talk so much. I use WeChat more. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, when there are two choices and you don't like choice A and you don't like choice B, then you say neither. So for example, neither option to me is good. I would rather smoke nothing today. You would rather me smoke either a cigarette or a joint, which is what we would call some maybe weed. I will say neither. Let's have a cigar. How's a cigar? Sometimes I do smoke a cigar. Once in a while, with a glass of whiskey. Good combination. Okay, is that clear? So then neither or neither are used to reject the two options. Okay. All right, I think I might have missed some questions, but let's see here. Do you ever get bored teaching English? I learned Storm Florence had already brought a lot of rain to the East Coast. How could I describe the scene like a native speaker? Yeah, you could say Hurricane Florence has caused maybe torrential rain along the eastern seaboard. Torrential rain is very heavy rain. Torrential. Maybe someone can look up how to spell that and write it in the chat. Hurricane Florence has brought torrential rain, or rains, sometimes it's used as plural, to the eastern seaboard or the eastern United States. That would be a way to say it. We could say it. We could say, if we're looking out the window, wow, it's pouring down rain. We describe heavy rain as pouring down rain. Okay. Okay, so I want to go on and ask and answer some of the questions from earlier. By the way, do I get bored teaching English? No, actually, I don't. And the reason is because I'm always trying to do something different and something new. I feel like it's very creative. I get to be creative, and especially when I'm making videos, do different things. Like a couple weeks ago, I did a video about dragons. I had never done that before, so I have to think about dragons. I have to research. I have to read and learn something. I like that. So, no, I don't get bored. I like it. I enjoy it very much. It's fun. And teaching one-to-one students, which I do sometimes too, is also interesting because you really get to know another person. Yes, variety is the spice of life, we say. Variety is the spice of life. Is, was, and were. Okay, this is a pretty basic question, but I can just give some examples when we would use is, when we would use was, and when we would use were. Well, is and are are used in the present tense, usually before either a word that has an ing to say an ongoing action, that's called a gerund, or before an adjective. So for example, we would say, she is, let's say, walking. Let's make it very simple. She is walking. Well, that is her ongoing action that's happening right now. Because we have ing, walking, it's called a gerund anyway. It's a type of grammar, not important to remember that, I think. But before that kind of word, ing, we will use either is or are, because it's happening now. What's the difference between is and are? She is, it depends on the subject. She. It is raining. Okay? He is talking. He. Okay? But some of them are not. As you probably know, I think most of you probably know, if we use something like we, then we would say we are. We are maybe having a party. Or they are maybe listening to music. The only one that's by itself is I, which would be followed by am. For example, I am teaching a class. I am teaching a class. So and it's the same, by the way, if it's an adjective. So if I say, I am ready, she is tired, they are exhausted, they are sleepy, okay? It's an adjective. It's an adjective, but it still is after is, are, or am, if it's I. For example, I am angry. I am angry. All I have to do to look angry is lower my head, and I automatically look angry. I am angry. I am furious. It's an adjective. Okay, so that's easy. If we want to then use was and were, all we do is follow the same rules, and instead of saying is and are, we just say was instead of is and were instead of are. So for example, he was running. She was talking. They were eating. We were enjoying a concert. Same rules, the only difference is was and were go in the past. It's talking about a past continuous thing. Now, what's the difference between she was singing and she sang? I think that's the more interesting question. That's more interesting. The reason that we would say she was singing instead of she sang, or she was talking instead of she talked, is that when we focus on an ongoing action, it allows us to sort of be in the situation, and then maybe another thing happens inside of that. Whereas if we just say she sang, then it's a finished thing. It's sort of like an event in the past, and maybe we won't focus on all of the stuff that happened while she was singing. So we say was singing when we're going to focus on maybe some of the events or details that happened during her time singing. She was singing and Greg was maybe fast asleep. So then we are allowed to say one thing that happened during the thing that was happening. Or we could say, she was watching TV when the phone rang. So an action stopped her from watching TV. She had to stand up from the TV and go talk to somebody on the phone. So that's, I think, an interesting way to give a sort of background before we tell a story. So that's, I think, hopefully an answer to your question. Yeah, hopefully that's clear. How to tell someone they are wrong politely. So Peace asks a good question. By the way, is your name Sachin or Sachin? Gouda. I have another friend who has the same name, Gouda. His name is Harsha. I really like those videos you took while you were walking along the street. Those videos you taught us how to order in a restaurant dinner. Teaching method is very helpful. Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm definitely going to be taking more videos out on the street. One thing I've noticed is that people tend to prefer videos where I'm outside walking or something, which I think is a little weird, but hey, whatever. It's what people prefer. The ones in front of a white background, I feel like are more interesting, but maybe not everybody agrees. Glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. By the way, I see that some more people are here. Make sure you guys, if you want to, make sure you guys... Oh, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys subscribe. Push the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. Also, if you're interested in checking out more of my stuff, I have some courses on Udemy. You can click on the link in the description. It's the first, should be the first link. And I have 3 courses. They're quite useful. Each one is 3 hours long. Of course, broken down into specific lessons, but useful for those of you who are working on your pronunciation or your ability to link words together so that you sound more fluent, or your ability to think in English. And I've got 4 more courses coming out pretty soon. So I'm excited to launch those. That's another fun thing, by the way, about teaching English that makes it less boring. It is hard to make those courses because you have to get months of planning, then you have to do the videos, and you have to make sure the videos are correct and the tone is right and the sound is right. Then you have to edit it all. It's so hard. But that struggle is interesting, I think, personally. So the question was, how do you tell someone they're wrong? All right. Let's say that we're in a meeting situation and there's someone who's making a proposal, they're suggesting something, and we don't agree with their suggestion. So someone is talking. The idea that they have, we think is wrong, and we need to stop them for a second, and we want to say it in a way that sounds nice. Okay, so we could say, if I may. That's a great way to interrupt people politely. You never want to say, stop speaking. Don't say that. Say, if I may. If I may. That means I want to say something now. Or you could say, if I could just cut in. If I could just cut in. If I could just cut in for a moment. For a moment makes it even more polite. So that's how we could stop somebody from talking. Then you want to use an expression to show that you disagree, but you don't want to say something like, I think you're wrong. I think you're totally wrong. I think you're totally off. I think you've got it all wrong. These are ways to say that you're wrong, but they definitely don't sound polite. It's like, if I could just cut in, you're dead wrong. It's like slapping somebody in the face, which is fine if you want to do that. Sometimes I do that, but I just do it for fun. Because I'm rude sometimes. When I'm bored, I sometimes am rude just to keep the situation interesting. Usually with my friends, though. But if you want to be polite, then you would say, I don't quite see it that way. Very polite. I don't quite see it that way. You could also say, I don't quite agree. Now, what's the difference between saying I don't agree and I don't quite agree? Does it really have a difference in meaning? Not really, no. But by putting in the word quite, we somehow make it softer, right? Quite makes everything feel softer and less direct. So anytime you want to say something less directly, less straight, use the word quite, or sometimes we use the phrase a bit. I'm a bit concerned, so I'll give you an example of that in a moment. So, well, Steve, I don't quite agree with that because I think if we do that, we could lose blah, 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 blah. Or, I don't quite see it that way, Steve. I understand what you're saying, but... So it's a good idea to, after you say, I don't quite agree, I don't quite see it that way, make a good comment to say maybe you're not a crazy person. One thing you said is right. I can understand what you're saying. I think I see your point. I agree with part of what you're saying. Then you say, but, however, and then say the opposite point. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, I think. And we could also say, I think we don't see eye to eye, or I don't think we see eye to eye, or I don't quite see eye to eye with him, her, you about this. To see eye to eye with someone is to have general agreement with someone about something. We really see eye to eye on a lot of issues. We generally see eye to eye on things. We don't quite see eye to eye on politics, but we usually see eye to eye on other things like entertainment or whatever. Okay? Steve, if I could just cut in for a moment. I don't quite see eye to eye with you on that. I understand what you're saying. However, I feel like if we blah, 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 blah. Doesn't that sound really polite? I'm disagreeing, but I'm doing it in a way that almost makes Steve want to say, oh, thank you for disagreeing. It's very polite. Now, what about using a bit? Can we use a bit to disagree? Yes, we can. Okay. We can just say, if we use a bit, the thing that's wrong. Okay. Steve says, I want to have a big event every month that's going to cost money, but we're going to hold it for all of the staff, and it's going to increase maybe the happiness of our staff. They're going to get to know each other better, going to be happier. Now, I think there might be a better way to do that, such as increasing salary instead, spending the same money. So I might say, well, Steve, I'm just a bit concerned that doing something only once a month that not everybody enjoys will not be the best value for the money we spend. Or, Steve, I'm just a bit concerned, or I'm a bit worried that doing that won't have the intended effect. Okay, so you could say, I'm a bit worried, I'm a bit concerned. Then you could say the thing that Steve wants to do, and then say that it won't work. I'm a bit concerned that your idea won't quite work. I'm a bit worried that if we do your idea, we might not succeed. We could instead maybe raise salaries and spend the same amount of money, and we might see a lot more satisfaction across the staff. Okay? So that would be just one possibility of how to disagree with somebody. I hope that's clear. How do I use literally? Literally means what I say is what I really mean. That's what it should mean. It's an interesting thing. If I say, I'm literally about to, that's not a good example. Let me think for a second. This is literally the best coffee I've had in my entire life. This is literally the best coffee I've had in my entire life. That means what I'm saying is I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying something just to be nice to you. What I mean is that it is in fact the best coffee in my entire life. The thing I said is the thing I mean. However, language is a very funny thing. Language, happy is here. Oh, good. Thank God. It's literally the best thing that's happened to me all day. However, language, any language, every language changes over time, right? Men from India, if language didn't change over time, you would still be writing in Sanskrit, but you're not, right? You have your mother language, which changes over time. You probably speak Hindi, which changes over time. And English is no different. Phrases change, words change. They change in feeling, they change in usage. Just take the word gay. 50 years ago, if someone said, I'm so gay, what it meant was, I'm very happy. You hear a lot of old songs say, they're so gay. It means they're so happy. They're so happy about something. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that anymore. Now, if someone is gay, it means homosexual, right? So it's the same with literally. Literally is now being used by a lot of young people under the age of, I would say, 26 and a half. People tend to use the word literally to mean just very, and they're not using it properly, but I cannot tell them that they're wrong because they're the ones changing the language, and maybe in 30 years, that will be the new meaning of literally. So it's wrong for me to say, you shouldn't use literally that way, because that would be me trying to stop something that absolutely cannot be stopped, which is the slow change of language over time. So if I say, don't use literally like that, it's wrong, they'll say like, you're like literally making me feel bad. So that's how young people use it. They say, I'm literally so tired. I'm literally the best coffee ever. It's literally like, and those two words go together. It's literally like, so what does that mean? It's kind of very much that, right? So now it's kind of like, I'm very tired. I'm literally like exhausted. I'm dying is an exaggeration. I'm literally dying. And I say it with that voice because in my mind, I connect the use of literally with people who are that age who maybe talk like that. I find it a little annoying, but hey, whatever. How do I change? Don't worry, I'll try to get to all the questions. Sometimes I just switch around. Relax. How do I change accent from Indian to from in? Oh, okay. I think it's hard to do that without being critical of the accent. But for example, the Indian accent, a lot of the Indian accents there are different tongue things going on in the mouth. So for example, okay, let's take the word potato. Now in the Indian accent, I'll try my best here, but it might be something like potato. Okay, so what's the difference between potato and potato? If you can hear those two different things, and I'm close to the Indian accent, then what is it that I'm doing differently to make the different sounds between potato and potato? And it's actually a very simple thing. And I'm not trying to offend anybody with an Indian accent here, just trying to answer the question. When I'm saying potato, my tongue is just behind my teeth, and it's lifted up like this. It's flat, and it's right behind my teeth, barely touching my teeth, but it's in the flat area between the cave. So in your mouth, there's this sort of cave that goes up at the top, and then there's a little flat area that you can feel, and then there's your teeth, right? So there's a palate. This is called the palate. Then this little flat area, It's like a cleft, and then there's the teeth. When I'm saying potato in the first accent, I'm going like this, and my tongue is right up against my teeth, touching the front palate, t. It's the t sound, okay? T. When I do the Indian sound, the d, my tongue is rolled back slightly, and then it's actually curled up against the cave part. So here's the palate. My tongue is actually like this in front of this flat area. So that d is it is the most common sound in the Indian accent, the Indian English accent. That is the most common sound. It's the slightly rolled up d instead of t. And if you just adjust that by learning to flatten your tongue when you speak and bringing it closer to your teeth, what you'll find is suddenly it goes from potato to potato. But also the e needs to change more to an a, because when we say the a sound, it's a little bit wider. Instead of an it's a little flatter. That sounds too much like an e. So we want to make it a clear a sound. So we go p, not po, p, and then te, big, wide, and then toe, potato, potato, potato. You can make it a little lighter and say to instead of toe, but it's still in the same exact place as the toe if you want to make it a little lighter. All right, so I hope that answers your question on the tone. Some people say that I have a realistic Indian accent. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like to do different accents. Japanese English, Indian English, Chinese English, French English. I enjoy different American English accents. I enjoy doing different types of accents just for fun. Okay. Oh, Adriana's here. Sorry you have to work now, Adriana. Maybe you can watch later. That'd be great. Okay, I'm going to go back and talk about Let me see here. I've missed some questions. Rahul has a question. And what do you know? It's a have had question. I have nothing to say. I have had nothing to say. Okay, so if I say I have nothing to say, it means right now, in my mind, there's nothing that wants to come out of my mouth. If you ask me a question and you say, why did you break up with my sister? Why did you break up with my sister? I might say, I have nothing to say. Now maybe that's because there's nothing that wants to come out of my mouth, but maybe it's because I don't want to tell you the reason, because I'm too hurt for whatever reason. Maybe something happened. The reason I broke up with your sister is too painful for me to think about. I have nothing to say. If I say I have had nothing to say, it means at some point in the past, the thing that I just described happened to me. I'm not saying when it happened, but it has happened to me. So I've had nothing to say at some point in the past. Now, doesn't mean that's happening now. That's the difference. That's the difference. I have had nothing to say is not very common. Not very common at all. I have nothing to say is common. If something happened to you in the past like that, you might just say, I was speechless. I was speechless. It means I couldn't think of anything to say. I was speechless. Okay. Okay. I gotta check some questions here because I might have missed one. Okay. So Rahul, no more have questions. That's your last one ever. Danny is here. Hello, Danny. Let's see if I missed another question. Do you use shall in America? Okay, so Svetlana. Ooh, I'm going to try to say your family name, Svetlana. Hey, Doran is here. Good to see you, Doran. Svetlana. Konstantinova. Svetlana Konstantinova. Sounds like a Russian name to me. I could be wrong. Hello, do you use shall in American English in phrases like, shall I open the window? Shall we go see a movie? Yeah, absolutely. We do. If we're suggesting something, Americans will say, sometimes they'll say, shall we do this as a way to suggest something? Just as you wrote here, perfect. Shall I close the window? Means, is it okay with you if I close the window? I'd like to close the window. Well, let me get the door. Someone's at the door. Someone's ringing my, maybe it's UPS? Yes? Okay, come on up. This is my thing here. FedEx. There's a delivery on Saturday. Interesting. FedEx man is here. Let's see what the FedEx truck looks like outside. Yeah, see? FedEx is here. It's for me! Hey, it's Mushroom. It's my wife. FedEx man is here.
What's that?
I don't know. He said FedEx. I think I think I know what it is. The stuff for the sink. Should be. Can you get the door, Mushroom? Oh, never mind. Hello.
How you doing?
Thank you, sir. Yes, she is. Home Depot. Should we do an unboxing? Do an unboxing. It's hard to open with one hand, Mushroom. Can you do it? Terry says, hi, Mushroom.
Hi.
Terry, do you recognize the family name Yap? Y-A-P? Is that a Chinese family name? Y-A-P? Terry Yap. I haven't heard that family name before. Is that a family name? The Chinese family name. Yap. Y-A-P.
Y-I-P.
Y-A-P is not a family name, right? Terry Yao? Are you sure you know your own family name, Terry? Oh, light bulbs. These are for the bathroom. Cool, we can put these in later, Mushroom. Nice. Good. Mushroom, do you know? I don't know this character. 可以看吗？你过来看。
Can you ask Terry which one and TM5?
知道吗
Yeah.
Yeah.
叶子的叶。
你为什么他说YAP？
I don't know. Maybe it sounds cooler.
Yeah, it does sound cooler. Okay, where were we? What was I talking about?
Higher.
Oh, right. The question from Svetlana about shall. Mushroom, shall we go see a movie later? Does that sound weird to you? It's my idea. I'm making a suggestion, so I say shall, right? Another way to say that, though, instead of using shall as a way to suggest something, would be to say something like, do you want me to close the window? Or sometimes, would you like? Would you like to go see a movie? Would you like me to close the window? Well, how to understand cat sounds? What do we say? Meow. Yeah, M-E-O-W is the right spelling. You don't need to say it as M-E-O-W-W-W, though. Just one W is okay. M-E-O-W. Someone said our house is so pretty. Do you think our house is pretty? Mushroom doesn't think our house is pretty. Okay, ginger and garlic with the cold. I have what I call seasonal allergies. Seasonal allergies seasonal allergies are things that happen every year. It's nothing to do with having a cold or an infection or a virus or anything like that. It's about a reaction to something in the air. So there are things there's something in the air called pollen from a specific plant, in my case called ragweed. And so every year around August, late August, early September, until it gets colder, I get these symptoms, and usually involves sneezing, runny nose, foggy head, sometimes confusion. Yo cafe ma. Okay, I'll make some coffee for you. Mushroom wants some coffee. Can you ask your wife if she has seen the family name Ye? Do you know the family name Ye? Mushroom, do you know his family name? Do you know that family name? Y-E?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Ye是的 Ye.
Yeah, man.
Yeven. Oh. Nice. So I want to know about bartender phrases. Oh, I'm actually thinking about doing a video about bartender phrases. But I wonder if you can ask a more specific question, because that's so general, it's something I could do a whole video on. So if you have a more specific question, I would be happy to answer that. Give me a more specific question, Doran. Please, have I missed any questions so far? By the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe. I really appreciate if you subscribe so you can see when I post videos. I usually post a couple of videos a week, at least one video a week, and I'll be doing these hopefully every weekend. Sometimes I miss one. I'm gonna try very hard not to miss any more. I know I haven't done well at that recently. I've missed a couple, but I'm gonna try very, very hard. So I would appreciate if you guys could subscribe. If you like my videos, you can share them and leave comments. That's great. I always read the comments, and if you're interested in more serious studying and you want to check out longer courses, check out my courses in the description. It's the first link in the description. I have some courses on pronunciation, how to think in English, things like that. Could you make a video about banking? Sure, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll write that down. Oh, thank you, Terry. I'm glad you've already subscribed. Nice. I've made a video recently about money in America, so you might check out that video. It's in my videos, the recent videos. It's about money in America, including how people get paid, and the fact that in America we use only cash for things a lot of the time. So you can check that out. But I think a banking video, how to talk about things to say at the bank, would be a good idea, I think. Yes, I like that. I'm gonna work on a course also for suggesting how to do specific things. Thank you, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And if you guys have any other suggestions on videos, I would love to hear them, because I always look at ideas on videos. Yeah, sure thing, Svetlana. By the way, did I say your name correctly? Your last name? Konstantinova, is that right? Konstantinova? Is that the correct pronunciation of your name? Peace says, shouldn't I use them if I want to sound more native? Use them. What's them? Shouldn't I use them if I want to sound more native? Not sure what you mean here. Medical English is a great topic. Yes, that one's a little tough because I might not know enough detailed medical English. However, talking to your doctor, things like that would be a very good topic. Some of the more basic stuff. Deep medical English, I think I don't know enough about. For example, things that doctors know. However, for sure, going to the doctor and explaining yourself at the doctor is Prozac Nation. Get out of here. Who are you? I'm finding Sashin to be quite a humorous person. My goodness. I think we could probably be good friends. A very thing said, when you tell about something happen. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Peace. Can you try to ask it again? I'm trying to understand, but I think I'm not sure I understand. Okay, just a second, Mushroom. Oh, telephone conversations. All right, so let me say something about that quickly. I am working on a course, which is going to be about 4 hours long, about customer service English on the phone. It's going to be 4 hours. It's going to be all about how to talk politely on the phone, especially with customers, for people who need to do customer service. So that's going to cover a lot of those things that might be useful. I'm going to make some coffee. Oh, you work as a customer service rep. Well, hopefully that course will be useful. It's going to be really long, but it's going to be very useful. It's about how to deal with angry customers. It's about how to ask customers to wait. It's about how to explain things to customers, how to talk about steps with customers. It's broken down into a lot of details. I have only 2 more videos to film. I've been working on it for the past 2 months, and I'm almost finished. Uh-oh, speak with Americans every day. Oh no, sorry about that. All right, time to make some coffee. Are these words weak to use? Very thing said. Weak to use, though, is the part I'm not sure about. Oh, Amazon, that's cool. Do you have an interview for work? Yes, I am. I'm actually posting a course about job interviews as well. I'm actually posting a course about that too. So yes, good suggestions. I'm going to write down all these suggestions for future videos. I have so many videos still to make. All right, time to make some coffee. Let's see. Here's my coffee maker. Step 1, throw away the old filter and the old coffee. Step 2, get a new filter. Ying! Put it in the thing, the holder. Step 3, fill the pot with water. Step 4, pour the water into the back of the coffee maker. Step 5, put it down there. Step 6, what are we on? Step 900. Put some coffee in the filter. I don't really measure it. I like to just pour some in until it looks about right. And that looks about right to me. Just my feeling. Follow your heart when you're making coffee. Then push the button. Done. Easy. Oh, I'm making coffee now, Mushroom. Just if you guys are interested, this is my neighborhood. I live in New York. This is my street. And this is the kind of weather I'm talking about. Oh, it's actually a little too sunny. I like totally overcast weather. It's too blue, too much sunshine. Oh, I don't like it. Go away. And it's a big tree beside my nice. Some birds live there. They're good friends of mine. Okay. Let's see if I missed any questions. Are idiomatic expressions frequent in daily language? If yes, what are the most popular ones? I cannot answer your question completely, Svetlana, and the reason for that is because the answer is yes. Idioms and expressions are extremely common in daily English. People use them and they don't even know that they're using them. So they're extremely common. Some of them to learn, some of them are easy to learn. I've definitely taught some of them in previous videos. If you look at my channel, I've got like 190 videos, and some of them are about idioms, some of them are about expressions. The reason that I can't completely answer your question is because if you want to say, teach me some, teach me the most popular ones, it's sort of like saying, teach me to be a doctor right now. I mean, there's such a big area. People write whole books about it, and there are very, very diverse expressions that can be used in so many different ways. I can't even say which ones are the most popular. So it's a huge topic, and the simple answer to your question is yes. And I would recommend to learn some of them. If you'd like to learn a few from me, you can check out some of my previous videos. Some of my very early, boring videos also cover some idioms and expressions. So you're welcome to check those out. And I'll be doing more videos with idioms in the future, but it's a big topic for sure. I think there are some whole YouTube channels about expressions. So many people are in customer service. Wow, crazy. Good. Hope you guys enjoy the course. I've spent so much time on it. I'm almost finished. I'm very excited to finish the course. I try to make the courses quickly, but it takes a long time to work on them, so sometimes it's tough. But I'm going to be posting 4 new courses this year, and might be offering a membership as well. Sun provides you with vitamin D. Vitamin D. Who needs vitamin D? People don't need vitamin D. Can you make a video about interviews for work? Oh, I read that one already. Wow, coffee. I like coffee. I love coffee. Nobody likes coffee more than me. I'm crazy about coffee. I love coffee so much it hurts. What should I do if I forget a word during a conversation? Is there anything to say instead? Yeah, okay, so this is a good question. What do I do if I forget a word during a conversation? It's going to happen, right? It will happen. I forget words during conversations sometimes. It happens. That's why it's so important to be able to describe things well. So if you're good at describing things, then you don't need to worry about forgetting a word because you can say what you mean instead of saying the word. So let's say, for example, you wanted to use the word, what would be a complex word I could use? Ubiquitous. There's a fun word. Okay, there's a complex word. So ubiquitous is a word that people will use in certain situations. For example, these days, internet access via Wi-Fi is relatively ubiquitous. That means no matter where you go, you can access Wi-Fi. It's all around us, okay? But let's say I didn't know the word or I couldn't remember the word ubiquitous in the situation. So I could say instead, wherever you go, you can find Wi-Fi. You'll never have any problem finding a Wi-Fi connection. Well, it's just another way to say the same thing. So that's because I'm able to describe what I mean. Describing something means communicating it no matter what words you happen to use or know. Even if you have to use your hands. Wi-Fi, yeah, like that, you know? It's a way to sort of communicate it with your hands. And that's interesting. So instead of thinking of learning a language like, if I don't know the right words, I can't say anything. Don't think of it like that. Language is simply a tool for you, whether you're speaking your own language, your second language, your third language, or just using your hands, whatever it may be. Language is a tool to make whatever is in your brain go into someone else's brain. It's the middle thing. In other words, it's very flexible and it can be used in lots of different ways. It can be used in a simple way or a very technical way. There are many different layers, for example, of English. There's very low-level basic English. There's more complex intermediate level English. And there's very beautiful poetry, literature type complex English that maybe few people can even understand. Okay, so there are so many different levels. All of those, though, are ways to express and communicate ideas. So don't think of learning language as if I learn this word and this word, then I can say this thing. Instead say, okay, it's nice to know this word and this word, but what I'm trying to express is this thing. And if I don't remember these two words, that's all right. I'll find another way to express this thing. Maybe instead of using these two words, which are higher level words, which I can't remember right now, I'll drop down a few levels and use simpler words to try to communicate, maybe also using my face, what I'm trying to say. And if you think about English like this, if you think about language like this, all I'm trying to do is communicate, then you become much more flexible. So I speak to very low-level students who don't know any English. I have one student who's 5 years old and doesn't speak any English. And I have some students who are 60 years old, maybe, and are perfect English speakers, basically. Right? I also teach teachers how to teach English. So there's a wide range, but I always try to remember and tell myself, I'm communicating with people, and it's not that I must use any specific words. Now, there are words that are very useful, that's for sure, but I'm trying to communicate to you the right attitude, the right perspective, the right way of seeing yourself when you're using English. And that helps me, and I think it helps a lot of students as well, to think about yourself as a communicator rather than a word user, if that makes sense. Hey Terry, have a good night. Talk to you later. It's night in India. Of course, I can imagine. Teacher, do you listen to Jay Krishnamurthy? You know, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar. I'm sorry. You're welcome, Peace. I hope I answered your question. And thanks for always being the first person to make a comment on my videos. I really appreciate that. That's great. I value that very much. Peace is always usually the first person to say something in the comments. It's awesome. It's awesome. What time is it where you are? It is now 2 p.m., so 2 in the afternoon. I think I might maybe relax a little bit. I did some work this morning. I had a class this morning. I have a group of WeChat people I talk with. So I was talking with them a little bit. I might have a glass of wine later, a glass of red wine, maybe watch a movie, maybe get a little more work done. I try to work every day. I don't like taking days off completely. That's no fun. Not working is no fun. And maybe this evening I will have 1 or 2 more students to teach. Thank you very much, Peace. I appreciate it. Okay, well, I think, I don't know, have I missed any questions, guys? Let me know if I've missed any of your questions. I think we can stop for today, because I am gonna go, and I know it's getting late for some of you. And I think I should probably go buy some allergy medicine. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for your great questions, as usual. You guys always have really good questions, and I appreciate that, because good questions are what allows this to happen. If the questions were not good, not interesting, not useful, then we really wouldn't be able to do this, right? So it's kind of I like that it's sort of a collaboration. It's not just me, it's you and me. We're doing it sort of together, and that makes it, I think, more interesting. I live in Iceland. It's 6 p.m. Oh, really? 6 p.m. in Iceland. I would really like to go to Iceland someday. I really hope to go to Iceland. It's one of my dream locations. Several places I haven't been yet, and Iceland is one of them. I'd really like to go. Thanks, Wallacey. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys, for watching. Again, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done that already. Check out some of the other videos if you haven't done that already. I posted one yesterday. No, I'm going to post one right now, actually, about me and Mushroom getting stuck in an elevator and how to ask for help. Thanks a lot, Svetlana. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're interested in more serious learning, then make sure to check out my courses. If you want to support me on Patreon, it's a new thing. You're welcome to do that. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with Patreon, but you're welcome to, of course, check that out. If you'd like to send me ideas for other videos you'd like to see in the future, just leave them in the comments here, or maybe if you want to add me on WeChat, you can do that. My WeChat ID is ALTORAY, altoray. And you can send me suggestions directly. So thanks for watching, guys. See you next week, Saturday, hopefully around 12 p.m. Yes, I am, sir. Beta, actually, I don't know. Sir or ma'am? Miss? Huh? I don't know. Beta, I don't know if that's a girl's name or a boy's name. I'm sorry. Yes, we're stopping now. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya. Have a great weekend. Beta, oh, I think that's a girl's name. I think that's a girl's name, right?